Well, hello YouTube, it's me Fortmaster, and welcome back to another Supereyepatchwolf reaction. What is Nathan Fielder? Oh, yeah, that's a name I haven't heard in a while. Can't remember where I first saw Nathan, but Nathan Fielder used to do these things where, like, he'd interview people or do stuff, but he had a very awkward aura about him. I remember I didn't watch him that much because I actually found it uncomfortable to watch him. Like, to the point where if I saw something on TV with him in it, I would change the channel because I genuinely didn't want to experience that. But seeing this made me think, I haven't had to do that in a long time. And it makes me wonder what happened to him. So hopefully this video not only answers what Nathan is, but also what happened to him. So yeah, original video is linked in the description. If you haven't seen it for some reason, corner video will be leading to my Let's Play of the day. And yes, this is a hour-long video, so this is going to be chopped up into two pieces. If you want to see the video in its full uncut hour-plus long glory after this, it will be linked to on my Patreon, and all you have to do is support me with as little as $1 a month. Otherwise, you can just watch it in the two parts. So yeah, with all that out of the way, let's get this thing started then, shall we?
2020, a house in rural Oregon. If you were to visit this house, inside you'd find a man, a woman, and a child harvesting food from the surrounding farmland, living a normal family life. But the longer you stayed here, the more questions you'd start to have. Why are there barcodes on the freshly harvested vegetables?
Oh.
Why does it feel like this man and this woman don't actually know each other? What is it about these photos that feels so wrong?
Well, they're all photoshopped.
What is the large clock on the wall counting down to 0? And why is it snowing in July? Was this really the same child that was here just a second ago? What is wrong with this house's mirrors, and who are these strange men who creep in through its windows at night, silently take the child, and leave behind an eerie, lifelike robot? What is happening here?
You know, I can't help but feel that this might be the beginnings to a really messed up version of The Truman Show, where the entire point of the show is just starting one day in Truman's life. They just gaslight him with something new every single day just to watch him go insane.
What is this place? And the answer is that this house is a reflection. It is a reflection of a man, and that man is Nathan Fielder.
Okay.
If this is your first time encountering Nathan Fielder, he's hosted 2 different reality TV shows, Nathan For You and The Rehearsal, and I need you to understand how strange this man's mind is.
Again, this is his shows were the ones where I would change the channel because watching them made me feel uncomfortable.
Segment from Nathan For You involves Nathan helping a struggling gas station, his plan being to sell gas at $1.75 per gallon, which does draw in customers, only for those customers to be charged full price for the gas and told that they actually claim back the discount through a tax rebate, which can only be filed in a mysterious rebate box somewhere on the side of a mountain. And when people actually take Nathan up on this, he ends up leading them on an elaborate mountainside riddle hunt that transforms into a 17-hour overnight hike before finally, the next morning, Nathan reveals there never was any rebate box.
Yeah, so, I certainly hope that this show was completely scripted and not, because I really hope there aren't people that were stupid enough to go through all of that just to save a couple of bucks on gas. Well, actually, that's a couple of bucks per gallon, so no, that would add up. Never mind.
There is an uncanniness to Nathan. The way he moves, the way he speaks, the way he interacts with people, he's awkward. He doesn't pick up on social cues, he makes jokes that don't land, and his conversations frequently plummet into vacuums of uncomfortable silence.
When you look at me, you probably see a guy who has it all. But really, there's a large part of me that's immature and underdeveloped. If you want to hang out sometime time outside, I don't know. It's fine. We don't have to, it's fine, yeah. You know I'm not your real dad, right?
Wait, what?
It's like there's this invisible barrier between Nathan and everyone else. Like he's this outsider looking in on the rest of humanity, trying so hard to act like a person, but is unsure of what a person is.
Okay, so I'm going with either he's a robot, an AI trying to, you know, work itself out, or he's an alien.
And Nathan's aware of this. In fact, he tries very hard to overcome it. He will map out conversations on these intricate, elaborate flowcharts, accounting for every response, every variable, in the hopes of guiding his interactions towards a favorable outcome. He will even control scenarios and manipulate people, like taking a person to a shooting range for the purposes of growing closer to them, only to secretly load the rifles with blanks in the hopes that the two will bond over their mutual failure.
Wow, we're not good at this.
If this is your first experience
Oh, wow,
Nathan,
okay.
by now you may...
I mean, the thing is, like, I've shot trap a few times. That's what we call it. When you're shooting the clay pigeons with a shotgun with birdshot. And I was not good at it. Granted, I never did it that many times, but still, I don't think you'd have to load my gun with blanks for me to fail.
Maybe asking the inevitable question everyone does. Is this person real?
Yeah.
Is Nathan Fielder an actual, genuine human being, or are we watching a bizarre comedy character played by an actor? Or is there maybe a much stranger third option that will unfold over the course of this video? Well,
Okay, now I'm trying to rack my brain. What could that third option really be? Because, like, again, what I said before, either robot or alien. That's all I got.
well, friends, after watching Nathan's recent show, The Rehearsal, which incidentally is 6 of the most compelling, strange, and disturbing episodes of television I've ever seen, that is a question I have put the last 8 weeks of my life in attempting to
Switch the
answer.
baby?
So join me on this very strange journey as we ask, what is Nathan Fielder?
Yeah.
Wow, what a fascinating question. And before we answer it, a brief word from our sponsor, ExpressVPN. You know, sometimes everyone's talking about that big new TV show, like, I don't know, The Rehearsal or House of the Dragon, and you will as well. Find out how you can get 3 months of ExpressVPN for free by visiting expressvpn.com/eyepatchwolf or clicking the link in the description below. Okay. Nathan Fielder. As a socially inept man in my 30s, I like to think I can recognize my own, and so when I look at Nathan, honestly, I kind of get it. Though you would never be able to tell it from these videos, I too can be kind of awkward. I too don't always understand why people react to me the way they do, and I have been told that my mannerisms and ways of speaking can sometimes come across as a little strange. I remember...
Did the end of that say, I think he's gay? What does that have to do with anything?
Primary school, this boy spread the rumor that I was a robot, and a lot of the other kids believed him. And then they told me that I wasn't allowed to play rounders with them because robots aren't allowed to play sports. So... I relate.
Hey.
I understand how behavior like this could come from a genuine place. And so I decided, if this really was just a fictional character, all I needed to do to prove that was find footage of Nathan breaking character. Something that, as you may be able to tell from the remaining runtime on this video, was a lot less simple than I thought it would be. I wanted to track
Yeah.
down any footage of Nathan from outside his TV shows, i.e. situations where he was not acting and would not have editorial control over, namely real life interviews. But immediately I hit a problem. See, Nathan has appeared on dozens of late night talk shows, but in each one, in character, and often with what feels like pre-prepared bits.
Nathan.
This whole thing, if this is real, I can't help but feel, yes, I mean, there are obviously people that enjoy watching him, but I can't help but feel that this might be studios taking advantage of him. I hope to God that isn't. Because, again, he did say there was a mysterious third option that nobody had thought of yet.
I go to real small businesses and I give them out-of-the-box or innovative ways they can better market themselves or improve their business.
And so I started to look for smaller, more intimate interviews. Moments that feel like someone just pulled Nathan in front of a camera that he wouldn't have time to prepare for. But even in those, Nathan was Nathan.
There is actually a story. I was going to do it at the end, but I'm going to do it now.
Okay.
I was actually your table counselor. So I sat down and I just yelled out spontaneous fun with sugar. And it got to you, and I have to say, Nathan, you just handed me the sugar. And I said, Nathan, did you have fun with that sugar? You said no. You lost the game.
Oh, okay.
Oh no.
That's the entire story.
I mean, I guess I wasn't that good.
This is Nathan Fielder. Nathan, if you could be one character from a children's book, who would you be and why?
Well, I would of course be Tintin, because he's just, everyone likes to be unsure if you're bald or not, and that's the one to the charity.
The same stilted speech pattern, the same unsure feeling of what to say and how to act. Even in higher profile written interviews, Nathan is Nathan. He makes jokes that don't land and talks about how hard he's trying not to make the conversation too awkward. I even tracked down an old Nathan Fielder DVD box set that had director's commentary on selected episodes, but, well...
One time I was in grade 8 and this girl invited me back to her house and we were talking and then we were laying on her bed and then she actually laid on top of me, like face to body, like face to face.
Oh, okay.
It was like an inch from mine and she clearly expected me to kiss her. And I was just so worried that if I did it, she'd be like, "What are you doing?"
If this really was a character, it was a convincing one. But what started to get kind of bizarre was when I dug up some old photos of Nathan as a teenager. The thing that strikes me about these photos is in how nearly every one there's something exciting happening. A party, a hot tub, a dance night.
Where did you find these? Did, like, his mother put them up on Facebook or something?
People laughing and having a good time. But then, on the outskirts, there's Nathan. This awkward, unsure teenager on the outside looking in. You can practically see the space between Nathan and other people in these photos in a way that feels so consistent with both Nathan from the rehearsal as well as those interviews. And it was hard not to look at these photos and not feel something
really bad for him?
Whatever evidence I had expected to find here, I hadn't.
Granted, this is somebody who's never really been a social butterfly either, but I mean... Oh, God. Again, this is like having the sour taste feeling on the entirety of your body and feel like you just want to, like, suck in on yourself until you turn into a black hole.
I was gonna need to dive deeper. I was
Baby
going to
photos! No.
rewatch every episode of Nathan Fielder's previous TV show, Nathan For You. Every episode of Nathan For You starts the same.
My name is Nathan Fielder, and I graduated from one of Canada's top business schools with really good grades.
and immediately, bam, a potential smoking gun. Did Nathan actually graduate from business college? And in my research, he did. He graduated from the University of British Columbia with a degree in business communication and even spent a time working for a real-life brokerage firm.
Oh, okay.
I'm not really sure why I left this. In each episode, Nathan uses his business expertise to help the owners of a struggling small business. And those plans are, well, making a realtor's unique selling point that her homes are not haunted, selling discount Santa visits in July, or an
discount
ad campaign
Santa visit
belittling children into buying an unpopular toy.
If you are between the ages of 3 and 8, please listen closely. Owning a doinkit is now the only proof that you are not a baby. Tell your mom or dad to buy you a doinkit, because otherwise, as far as anyone's concerned, you're a baby.
These are all real suggestions.
You know, granted, I want to say granted that might have been done for laughs, but again, no, with everything that's been shown so far, I'm not entirely sure. But at the same time, I could almost imagine that being like a real, like at least that style of commercial being real in like the 90s or something.
Nathan gave real people in real life. And even writing this, it's like, oh, of course, this is an actor playing a silly character. It's obvious. But here's the thing. Several of those ideas actually worked. Nathan at multiple points has made international news headlines and even started legitimate businesses. And what really makes
okay, wait. I gotta go back there. I saw this Holocaust. What? Summit, ice, soft shell jacket, yada yada yada.
Started legitimate.
Okay, so soft shell technology, yada yada yada. I know that. The Holocaust, one of the worst. Okay.
Businesses. And what really makes this all so much more convincing than it should be is Nathan himself. No matter how bizarre Nathan's plans are, there's always this kernel of logic, some unconventional but believable way of thinking, with Nathan never for a second breaking character or acting in a way that feels inconsistent with either the teenager from those photos or the man from those interviews. Nathan for you never blinks. It never tells you to laugh or lets you know it's a joke. That's a conclusion you have to come to yourself, and that's because no matter how ludicrous Nathan's plans are, Nathan is always able to lay them out with this straight-faced determination, convince real people to go along with them, and then follow those plans through with a conviction that really makes it seem like he believes they could work. In one episode, Nathan attempts to help a struggling electronics store, Spears TV, which is being run out of business by the local Best Buy. And his plan is for Spears TV to run a limited time promotion where they sell TVs for $1 and then use Best Buy's price match policy to buy out their entire stock of TVs for just a few dollars.
Oh... That almost sounds illegal, doesn't it? Like, I don't know. Something about that just screams it being illegal, but I mean, if they could actually, oh my God, that sounds so weird. Why don't more people do that?
But this creates a problem. How does Nathan stop people from entering Spears TV and buying out all their televisions while the promotion is running? And the answer is that he implements a strict formal dress code for the store, then forces anyone who is determined enough to meet that code to crawl through a tiny door where they then must pass through one final room containing a live alligator. This all actually happened with real people.
Oh my God.
In another episode, Nathan convinces a sporting goods store to sign low-cost endorsement deals with child sports enthusiasts in the hopes that they will grow into professional athletes, having already signed an endorsement deal with the store. And when Nathan discovers that his top prospect wants to be an astronaut and not an athlete, he hires a fake astronaut, leading to this exchange.
My whole life has just been a
Is that
nightmare.
the Santa?
It's a
Is that the Santa Claus?
experience. You know, most of my friends have died in space or gone insane from the unimaginable loneliness of being there.
As an aside, I just want to say, this is all fucking hilarious. Nathan For You is some of the most entertaining TV I have seen in the last decade. Episodes like Dumb Starbucks, in which Nathan makes a carbon copy of a Starbucks but protects it under parody law by calling it Dumb Starbucks serving dumb venti lattes, are about as perfect a 22 minutes of television as you can get. However, in
Oh my God,
terms
that
of
was
how
real?
real Nathan is, it was rewatching Nathan For You that I started to have my doubts. I'd forgotten just how silly some of Nathan's ideas are. One involves Nathan convincing people to take, well, compromising photos of themselves that will be shown to their friends and family unless they can hit their weight loss goals. Another involves Nathan building a mechanical claw that will undo his pants, exposing him to an audience of children, at which point a real-life on-stage police officer will take Nathan to prison, where he will be charged as a sex offender unless he can undo the handcuffs and escape in time. And again, this is all very funny, if slightly disturbing, but as
Very
ideas a
disturbing.
genuine person would submit in good faith, it seemed like too far. And the more I watched and the more I learned about Nathan Fielder's personal life, the more inconsistencies began to emerge. In one episode, which for the sake of brevity I will just describe as Nathan stealing the skin of another man and taking over his life, it's such a weird episode.
What? Okay, so looking back on this, and okay, so I'm going to pause it here for just. I think I finally figured out why I never liked watching the show when I was younger. Yes, like some of the ideas he comes up with are super weird and super weird. Yeah, I can't think of another word. But watching Nathan, it's coming back to me now. Watching Nathan made me feel uncomfortable. And when I say that, and granted, I know I've already said that, but when I say that, I mean it made me feel self-conscious. As I've said in a couple of other videos, I have Asperger's, that it's on the autism spectrum. And there have been times where I haven't wanted to watch something like, let's say, like The Good Doctor for one. I do not like watching The Good Doctor merely because, granted, I know that The Good Doctor isn't a good depiction and he's also cranked up to 11 because, you know, magical, autistic, you know, doctor with super memory powers. But watching people like this on TV makes me feel really, especially back then, it made me feel really self-conscious about myself. Because granted, I know I am so marginally on the spectrum that, like, if it was 20 years before I was born, I wouldn't have had any trouble. I would have just been called the guy that was a little weird. But even then, it's the whole thing where, like, I can catch myself sometimes doing the stuff that, like, they show on TV or stuff like that are, like, you know, stereotypical autistic or Asperger's things, and I can't help, it's like, oh god, am I doing that? Am I going to be doing something that's going to make somebody else feel really uncomfortable or be really awkward and annoying? It's just it was not a good place to be, I can tell you that. Granted, I haven't had to come across something like this in a while, and I'm not feeling that way from watching this, but just thinking back and looking at the clips of Nathan, it's coming back to me why I never liked watching the show. Let's get back to this then, shall we? And see what other weirdness pops up here.
Involves a disguised Nathan going on a date with a woman named Jasmine, who we're told is a regular person Nathan met on OkCupid. And that is not true. I was able to dig up this old Reddit thread where Jasmine talks about her experience on the show.
Oh, okay.
And she never actually had an OkCupid. Those sections were all inserted after her scenes were shot. So then, how did they meet? Well, The answer to that is that Jasmine is actually a paid actor who auditioned for this part. While she
okay.
was not acting in these scenes, she did confirm that they were heavily edited, splicing in dialogue from unused portions of the episode to create conversations that never happened. And while this might not say anything about Nathan himself, what it shows is an attempt to create a fabricated narrative and sell it as real. What I think is so interesting about this is that the idea of fabricating reality, of creating something that seems real but is actually an illusion, is a narrative that comes up in Nathan For You over and over and over.
Yeah.
In one episode, Nathan is tasked with improving a haunted house. And to do this, he tricks the house's guests into thinking they've contracted a contagious skin disease, loading them into a hospital van where men in hazmat suits forcibly try and quarantine them before revealing that this was all just part of the haunted house. There's a lot of misdirection in Nathan For You, a lot of manipulating people into believing something that isn't real. And what I find so curious about this is that while Nathan did go to business school, he's also a lifelong magician and is even a member of the Magic Castle, an organization of highly skilled performers specializing in the arts of illusion and misdirection.
I've never heard of that before.
Was this all too some kind of illusion? And where that unease turned into straight up suspicion was when I learned that Nathan was also a member of his high school's sketch comedy club, captained by Seth Rogen. Oh, the Seth Rogen bit doesn't really matter. I just thought it was, you know, small world.
Yeah, so they went to high school together. Okay, that's weird.
The more I was learning about Nathan, the less sense any of this made.
Yeah.
But there was a much bigger revelation coming. One of Nathan's consistent character traits over the course of Nathan For You is his debilitating social anxiety, and especially around women, which he himself describes as a chronic nervousness. And in order to overcome this, Nathan sets up an elaborate reality dating show called The Hunk, in which he dates 10 women at the same time, and it's a really fun episode and mildly heartwarming.
When he says at the same time, he literally means at the same time. Okay.
Little questionable, as Nathan does slowly grow more comfortable around women. The only thing is, at this point,
wait, is that the same actress from before?
Had actually been married for 3 years, having met his real-life wife Sarah Zhokowska in 2007 and marrying her in 2011. This episode being shot in late 2013, early 2014. And there it was, the first real splinter between the Nathan For You character and the real-life Nathan Fielder.
Okay.
And the further I dove into Nathan's past, the more inconsistencies began to emerge.
I swear.
Nathan's first big break was on the news show This Hour Has 22 Minutes, in which he starred.
It wasn't really. Well, yeah, it was a news show, but it was a comedy show. I remember watching that. That used to be really funny. It was. I think it used to be hosted by Colbert, if I remember correctly. Or at least he did a section in it. Oh god, I can't remember. It's been so long since I've watched it.
In 2 segments, Nathan's Nook and Nathan on Your Side.
And now 22's Nathan Fielder gives us his take on this week's politics in Nathan's Nook.
You know what's really pissing me off these days? Those jokers up on Parliament Hill.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, you don't have to elaborate when you're talking about Parliament.
While he still plays the same awkward Nathan Fielder in these segments, the difference here is there is now a much more direct and obvious attempt at comedy. Like in one section, which is Meant to be a consumer advocacy bit on what to look for when buying an MP3 player, but
Oh
the
yeah,
gag
MP3
of the
player.
scene is how Nathan consistently sandbags the sales clerk.
Have you seen the new iPod MP3 players available?
Oh yeah, I'm not really interested in an MP3 player.
No. Would you like to see what I'm speaking about?
That's okay, I'll just have a look around by myself, I think.
Other segments involve Nathan interviewing a worker.
Oh
at an
god,
animal
I think I
shelter,
remember
the
seeing that
gag
clip.
being that Nathan is severely allergic to animals, which we know he isn't from future shows, or Nathan making strained political analogies while pulling out an increasingly elaborate array of props from his jacket. The difference between these segments and everything else we've talked about is here, each section has a defined, obvious joke, and that, plus the addition of a laugh track, means these sections blink. They want you to know this is not real, that you are meant to laugh. And at this point, the idea of Nathan Fielder being anything other than a comedy character played by an actor was starting to feel a little silly. And yet, there was one more piece of evidence that would settle this matter entirely.
And what is
Something I
that?
stumbled across while searching for Nathan's appearances on old comedy specials is Nathan actually has a personal YouTube channel. And while his most recent videos are very much him in character, what's interesting is the channel actually goes back 16 years. Its first videos posted in 2006, some of which are surreal sketches which feel inspired by the likes of Mr. Show, but some feel like prototypes for the Nathan For You character. One video titled Job Hunt starts with Nathan telling the audience about how he's been fired from his job and wants to make a documentary on how hard it is to find employment in Toronto. However, before he's even done shaving, Nathan gets a phone call telling him he's been hired for a new job, destroying the entire concept of the documentary. The boom mic falls awkwardly into shot and we see the documentary crew in the background, who Nathan now must awkwardly fire. What I think's interesting here is how this moment breaks the artifice of what you're watching. This is a documentary that goes wrong, and this
goes
isn't the only
nowhere
time
even.
Nathan messes with viewer expectation like this. In another video titled Simply the Best, Nathan is hanging out with a girl before he begins silently wording the lyrics of the Howie Day song Collide to her. And while I do not cringe because I am too strong, that definitely feels like the intention here. Look at this idiot embarrassing himself. But what's really interesting is what happens in the last 30 seconds.
What happens?
The singing trails off, and both Nathan and this girl turn and stare silently into camera. Stare at you.
Please stop.
And you should watch this video. It is
No, I will not.
deeply uncomfortable, nearly accusatory. Before this moment, you were the audience. You were this voyeuristic entity observing this third-hand humiliation. But this moment changes that. Now you become part of the narrative, nearly like you're being asked, why are you watching this? What are you getting out of it? And what does that say about you as a person?
And that is it for this part. If you want to continue watching this reaction, the link to the second part is on screen now. If you want to see the full uncut version of this reaction, you can find the link to that on my Patreon. I hope you guys liked. If you did, leave a like, subscribe if you have not, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.